some of the damaging pests of almonds, and particularly last year when we saw wet, cool conditions, we had a real flux of these pests. Can I have a show of hands between carob and Carpophilus? Who has Carpophilus as a problem? A few, yeah, we've got Carpophilus. And what about carob moth? Both. That's indeed, you know, you can get carob moth and Carpophilus. Ooh, that was blown away as a problem. And interestingly, some of the data is actually showing that it is common in many orchards to have 5 to 10% incidence of Carpophilus damage in most orchards in Australian conditions. And I was talking to a grower just a couple of weeks ago, and he said he had around 17%. And a grower today I was talking to said, I can beat that. Last year, I reckon 33% of my nuts were infected with Carpophilus. So you can see it's a really big issue. It's going to cost the industry a lot of money. So some of the conditions that Carpophilus are more prevalent in is those cool, wet conditions, but primarily they infect later on in the season, particularly around that hull split when they get in and start feeding on the kernel. So you've got Carpophilus that really like that white fleshy material, whereas carob feed right through that brown skin, right through the flesh as well. So that's one of the differences you can tell with both of them. Now, Syngenta, being an R&D company, have invested 10 to 12 years in developing a new active ingredient. This has been trademarked as planazoline technology, and for the almond industry and tree crops, it's been registered as the name Vitento insecticide. So that's the name I want you to think about. Vitento will be registered at the end of next year, so no, it's not available this season coming, but it's a good opportunity to let you know what's coming forward. Now, just as a little fun fact as well, that it costs $350 million to bring a new active to market. So we are doing this to control these pests in a number of crops. The trials have been conducted with planazoline technology, about 3,000 to 4,000 trials worldwide in over 80 crops. So as I said, Vitento has been submitted to the APVMA and will be registered late next year. So if you see some of those highlights of Vitento insecticide will be highly efficacious for almond industry to control both Carpophilus beetle as well as carob moth. Now, in Australian conditions, these trials have been conducted in these areas in Mildura, Sunraysia, over at Griffith as well, and these trials have shown the data that you can get 100% kill rate with Vitento compared to some of those industry standards, so very high. The other thing to notice when you have a look at labels, that if it says control is generally 80 to 100% efficacy, whereas you might see suppression on some labels, and that would be 60 to 80% roundabout. So we have good control of Vitento with these two pest diseases. So as I said, it features a new mode of action. It's a mode of action is a group 30. So many of you wouldn't know a group 30. The active is Isoclisa serum. And by having a group 30, it's a good rotational tool that you can use with management of insect pests. So many of you may use Samurai or Delegate for carob moth, or even the new one, Vago from Bayer. So we are very limited in what we can use for Carpophilus and carob moth control. It is a contact insecticide. That means coverage is king. So when you're applying a contact insecticide, where you're spraying it is where it is applied. It's not systemic. It doesn't move through the plant, doesn't move through the leaves. So being a contact insecticide, how it works, you're spraying it onto the plant, particularly for Carpophilus, that would be around that hull split stage. The insects walk across, they don't need to ingest it. All they have to do is even touch it with their little feet. The active gets absorbed into the insect themselves and it paralyses the insect. That means they can't feed. And that's what we're trying to stop. We're trying to stop the feeding damage on your kernels. The kill rate is, by the time that the active ingredient is absorbed through the insect, causes paralysis of the muscles. They stop feeding within 1 to 3 hours. So it is very quick working. It's very, very potent. Also, the property of Vitento is extremely high sunlight stability, and rain fast. Now you think about some contacts, if it does got that showers that sometimes we get or heavy rainfalls, even though you have applied it, it will be retained on the plant. And these conditions in summer that we have up in the Riverland, highly stable for sunlight, it's not going to break down. For that reason and those properties with the Group 30, it is very efficacious in that it has good residual activity 14 days. It has just demonstrated to have excellent crop safety. We've applied it over not only almonds but a range of different crops, this particular active. So it provides flexibility on a number of applications. You can use it right through the season. Obviously, when you're looking at insects, it's the key is to monitor the insect activity and spray when thresholds are met. So this is just a summary here, if you can see that, of Vetento. Like I said, the active is isoclysal serum, and it's a Group 30. It is a suspension concentrate. Suspension concentrates mix readily in water, and they're highly compatible with a range of other products as well. So I have no hesitation in suggesting that you use Vetento with the other crop protection products. I've also hinted here that it will be registered for almonds as well as citrus, avocado, macadamia and other tree crops up in Queensland area. So if you have almonds and citrus it will be for Kelly citrus thrip, Fuller's rose weevil and light brown apple moth. The targets there, as I said, with almonds are both Carpophilus and carob moth. So the suggested time that we would recommend using it, on label it will have a maximum of 3 applications per season with a restriction of 2 applications around hull split. So we would suggest for carob moth control that you would apply the first one during spring if you deem it necessary, and then follow up 2 applications starting at that 5 to 10% hull split, and then another one 14 days later. It will have a 14-day withholding period, which gives it that flexibility to use right up to the end of the season there. We recommend also that you apply Vetento with an adjuvant, and that would improve the efficacy of your treatment with Vetento. Generally a non-ionic adjuvant such as Agril. Now the rate will also surprise you. It's a very, very potent chemistry. The rate will only be 5 ml per 100 litre. So you only need a tiny bit of this product to be efficacious. Okay. So like I said, we've vested a lot of trials in looking at Vetento. This season is our last season looking at it before registration. We've got some trials around this region for you to have a look at. If you are interested, come and have a chat to myself. Nick Hall, if you want to put your hand up. Nick is our Southern Horticulture Manager. So if you've got any questions about Vetento, come and see us after the session.
Thanks, Brandy. Next we have Sheree Robertson from Haifa and Trevor Dennis.
All right, I hate microphones. My voice is normally loud enough. 15 years ago, about this time, we were having a conference in the Barossa Valley. Does anyone remember that? Julie was there, and as our CEO, yeah, we've got some people. So it's great to have another event. At Haifa, guys, one of the big questions at the moment is, can we get fertiliser out of Israel? The answer is yes. At any one stage, Haifa's got probably 20 to 30,000 tonnes of fertiliser in a ship on the ocean somewhere in the world. We also have 130 odd warehouses globally, and so production of fertiliser is continuing and the fertiliser is moving around the world, so it's available to get. However, what I will say to everyone in this room is, if you don't order it, you're not going to get it. At the moment, we see that China has clamped down on the supply or the export of fertiliser, and we see many issues with global shipping. Right today, we have containers stuck on the wharf that have been stuck there since Friday night because of a hacking event. So what I'm trying to say to everyone here is you've got to think about your supply chain, and you've got to think about the supply chain partner. The reason I said about the conference is because it's for 15 years I've said the same message. We are supply chain partners to this industry. We've been part of the industry for a long time, but we need you to support us on letting us know what you need so we can bring it in. Some of the other things that Haifa's doing, we do invest strongly in all the industry. We are investing in people. Unlike Brandy, sort of shocked me, Brandy, the number of people. We're only about 600 people, but we do have 19 offices globally, and we're expanding that all the time. So with that, I'll hand over to Sherry to talk about some of our other products. Everyone knows Haifa potassium nitrate, but do you know that we've got some other pH, some products that might be acidic or a bit more alkaline? So I'll hand over.
Thank you, Trevor. Now, you'll see that the numbers that I've put up are different to what Trevor was talking about, and that is because he tasked me with the task that was new to me. So, yes, we are expanding. So, Haifa is well known for its potassium nitrate. Potassium nitrate has been our focus. However, as you can see, we're going well beyond this in bringing in all different products to cover the whole nutritional range. Microelements, we recently brought in 5.2 ortho that's been very successful in the market, being the highest in the ortho percentage. I thought I'd put this slide up as well, so everyone's aware. We have online a whole lot of information that you can get. The Nutrinet, you can create programs. You can create programs for your site specific to your irrigation needs, and it gives you a whole program what to put in the tank, your own mixes, and the complex of that. We have Multi-Match, which is for CRF, and Foli-Match, which is for foliar application, and CropTune, which is a tool for measuring nitrogen, although that's not yet in almonds. It's technology that Haifa is investing in. So in the potassium nitrate range, we have not just our potassium nitrate. Everybody knows our bulker bags. You can see me there with the bulker bags. But we also have fast product, which normally potassium nitrate, once mixed at a 10% solution, will be at a 9 pH. Our fast product will be a pH of 4. The efficiency of potassium nitrate, I'd like to focus on the fact that it has both potassium and nitrate. Both nutrients are usable. They're an anion and a cation. They're efficient. They're just a great way to make sure you're getting full use of the nutrients you're applying. And you can address that pH issue by looking at these two different products. The other product that a lot of people aren't aware of, and I know that a lot of people are using potassium nitrate as a foliar application, we have Bonus, which actually has an adjuvant in it, and it's also has some pH adjusting to help you with your tank mix. And also an adjuvant that helps the uptake and the hold on the leaf. So it can be a good additive to your spray program, being quite compatible with the fungicides and insecticides. So another way to get your potassium into your almond orchard. I put up here, I did mention about the microelements. Polyfeed, we have the full mix. I know for a big industry like this, it's not necessarily something that you're going to use because it comes typically in the 25 kilo bags, but foliar application is a possibility with this product, as well as in those low demand periods where you might be wanting to just hold your leaf colour, nutrition, even soil applied in smaller quantities, in a full nutrition with microelements included. When it comes to the microelements, we have a full range, and we have the EDDHA iron, which is great for the high pH soils, for stability and availability. We also have some new products coming from overseas, including CalMaster, which is a great foliar applied calcium application. It's aspirate chelated so that you can get better uptake. It's a new product that will come next season. Next season, we'll also be looking at bringing in biostim products. We haven't brought these in. There's a lot in the market already, and I guess some feedback would be great on what do you want to bring into the market. There's some excellent products from overseas. Haifa has, as their typical way, focused on premium products and bringing in the best that they can bring into the country. So let me know of anything that you might want to be using in this range. I just put up a few examples of things that we can do in large quantities, which may suit this industry. So, oh. We're having a fight. I just thought I'd touch on the controlled release product. This is temperature release rate, and it's more suitable for plantings. So anyone who's planting, come and talk to me. This is a great product that you can use so that you're not worrying so much about your application rate. You can get a nice consistent nutrient uptake through controlled release based on temperature. And then thank you for your time. Haifa likes to look at things from all different points of view, from your point of view, from ours, and to try and come together in a partnership to create solutions. Thank you.
Next up, we have Neil Ennis from UPL.
Well, thanks, Josh. Neil couldn't make it today, so you've got myself, Sean, unfortunately, so we'll see how we go. Just as that ticks over, can I get a show of hands who would like to improve their pollination currently in their orchard? We're off to a fly, we've got 3, all right. Who currently uses pollination aids as current practice in their orchard? Well, hopefully that changes after this because I didn't see any hands. So today we're just going to have a brief chat about Pollinus, which is a new product from UPL to aid pollination in not only almonds but across a number of different crops. I guess just start off, it's pretty hard to see up there, but what is it, I guess, or how does it work, I guess. The idea of the product is to attract bees into the sprayed area and maximise the time that they're out of the hive. And as we know, over the last couple of years, things have been quite difficult in some areas, maximising that. I'll go into a minute, but it contains 4 natural plant pheromones, which are safe on bees and safe on crops, and it's available in 5-litre containers. As I said, Pollinus contains 4 pheromone actives. Geranol and citrol are attracting the bees in, mimicking their natural activity, and linalool and adenol maintaining them in the area, and as I said, maximising that efficiency while they're there, with the aim of obviously increasing the yield with increased pollination. I guess how do we apply it and compared to some other products of similar nature? I guess it's a bit of a point of difference. 2 applications of 1 litre each at 10% and 90% flour via the sprayer. We've had 800 litres to the hectare max, and we've been able to make that work with fungicides to go out at those stages as well. EC formulation, and I guess the most important point there is the fantastic compatibility. To date, we've had no issues, and we've done a fair bit of work in that space to make sure that it's an ease of use product that can go in whatever's going past at that time. Pretty hard to see there, obviously, on that screen, but just some trial results from last year, which was our first year. This was a trial done down at Langhorne Creek, and as you all know, last year was a pretty tough year for pollination. It was up against some other industry standard pollination products. Pollinus is in yellow there, come and see us after. We can run through those. They're a bit easier to see, but they're just physical bee counts over, I think it was 2, 6 and 8 days after application. All the products had an effect there, but pollinus was shone through. And then what it all comes to, the yield result. In that particular trial, we saw close to a 2 tonne hectare benefit down at Langhorne Creek by doing the 2 applications of pollinus. But obviously we've had to do it on a more of a commercial scale this year, and we'll go into that. And early trial results from this year have been positive. Hard to see again there, but a trial from Griffith is showing higher nut set over the control, and we've also done some work with Dave Lyle and done it over a 40 hectare plot, and it was close to, over the sort of the 3 days, averaged about 5% more bee activity where the pollinus was sprayed. So looking forward to getting the yield results over a bigger scale, and hopefully in the next catch up we can have some great data there to show you all. And I guess just to finish on, pollinus, attracting bees and maintaining them in the sprayed area, maximising their efficiency, improving pollination in that key period when low light or weather isn't in our favour. Contains 4 natural plant-derived pheromones, so as I said, safe to use on bees and plants, and available in 5-litre containers. But if anyone's after any more information, sing out, and my colleague over there, Matt, in the orange, you can't miss him. He's got some tech notes that we can hand around. Yeah, really positive product, and we're looking forward to growing it and getting some more really good trial data to back that up. So thanks to Josh for organising today, and to the Almond Board, and hope to catch up with you all later on.
Just make sure you're next. Yeah, you are next. Okay, so next up we've got Alison Hughes from Nested Ventures to talk to us.
Okay. Hello everybody, how are you today? Thank you for having me. I'm new to the area. This is only about my 3rd visit. I'm very happy to be here. I've been enjoying the facilities very much and getting to know some of the producers in almonds, which has been an interesting experience on its own. So I'm from a company called Nested Ventures, and so my job is to go around the world and source advanced technologies which have a step change capability to deliver innovation, adaptation and transformation into ecosystems, focusing on food, water and energy. So in my travels I've come across the remarkable GrowStream technology by responsive drip irrigation, and that's what I'm here presenting today. So we're going to watch a video in a moment, but I have a stand over there. So please make your way over if you haven't already. I will bend your ear considerably. I will wax lyrical about my limited knowledge of these things as best I can, and you can have a play with the system, which I think is always fun. So GrowStream, without further ado, I think I'll let the video tell the story. Well, now I'm going to really have to wing it. All right, so the basics of GrowStream are that you have a medical grade polymer, micropolymer, sorry, which is infused with a patented polymer. So they heat seal these two polymers together and they create a hydrophilic hydrophobic seal. And they use a folding machine and they put a heat seal down the side and that creates a tube into which you can insert water and fertigation. So this tube basically becomes a reservoir that you place to the side of the plant that you're growing. It works for anything that has roots. In this case, we're talking about almond trees. So the current design for almonds is 2 lines running on each side of the tree, one at 50 centimetres and one at 80 centimetres, one at 15 centimetre depth and the outside one at 20 centimetres depth. So the system is ultra low pressure, so it operates between 0.5 and 2 psi. You can turn it up to 5 psi, but at that point it becomes a soaker hose. So it takes a few days for the tube to cure. So it's basically like a weeping while that process happens. Once it's cured, the water is inside the tube and it won't release until something called a plant exudate, which I will go into some depths to explain in a minute, is exuded from the root systems of the plants. And so the chemical exudate is actually attracted to the water molecules which sit inside the GrowStream technology. And so it makes its way through the rhizosphere, touches the external of the polymer, of the reservoir. It breaks the hydrophilic seal, and the tube beads water. It releases water straight up into that chemical exudate, which then pulls the water straight up into the root system of the plant. And so it's basically like the plant has a straw and it's drinking till it's had enough. And then when it's had enough, it turns off those chemical exudates and the GrowStream tube seals itself back up again. Now, every single plant is doing this for itself. So if you have 100 plants on the row, every single one of them is managing its own watering system. And so what happens here is, and I don't think I mentioned that this is a gravity-fed system at this point, so you're saving a significant amount of water, 30% over the most efficient drip on the market today, more than 50% of your energy, and immediately need to reduce your fertigation by 50% as well, because you'll be microdosing through the system. You can flush. It takes very poor quality water and very high salt particles in water. So they're guaranteeing 2,000 parts, but they've tested right up to 4,500. And in the background, I know that number is much, much higher. So poor water isn't an issue, and you don't need a high pressure system. So it's very, very efficient. And because the plants are really working out what water they need, you're getting optimization in the rhizosphere. So you're getting an optimized water potential in the soil. And when you have an optimized water potential in the soil, then you don't get a you get a proliferation of the healthy microbes, and you don't get a proliferation of the things that would cause disease and ill health in the plants and poorer performance. So with optimized plant health, then you see a reduction in many things, including insects, because when plants are happy, they don't release so when they're unhappy, they release a frequency which attracts insects. When they're perfectly happy, that doesn't occur. So they are seeing a reduction in insects. They're seeing, obviously, an uptick in plant health. I'm going to make a big statement here, and forgive me, but the indicators, we've been looking at whole rot for the almond industry because we understand that it's a concern. I'm just going to say the indicators, and we need to do the trial, are all very positive for the performance capability of GrowStream and the root causes of whole rot. And so we would expect to see some upkick in plant health and reduction in the prevalence of that disease in almond orchards with use of this technology. Okay, so I might just read, if it's okay with you, a little bit about exudates, because that seems to be the sticker most of the time. I'm going to have to read this, so I apologise if it's a little bit boring. But for centuries, plant root systems, their biology, function and development have been relatively mysterious. Studies in recent decades are helping us gain new understanding of how vital, complex and active life just below the surface is. Root exudates refers to a broad range of secretions and chemicals that are released into the rhizosphere, the root zone. Exudates perform a number of functions, such as defending against intruding plants, bacteria, insects, and even communicating with symbiotic microbes. However, one of the most important functions of root exudates are their role in water and nutrient uptake. As soil becomes wet, soil and water molecules bond. This bond can be broken by gravity, heat, evaporation, and by root exudates, which then allow the root to uptake water and nutrients. This process is dictated by the plant as it responds to the numerous factors like temperature, humidity, sunlight, disease, insects, as well as its own growth stage and development. Plants are not simply passive recipients, but are actively seeking to grow, mature and thrive. GrowStream is the world's first plant responsive irrigation system. The tubing is installed near the root zone and interacts with the plant exudate. Once installed, GrowStream mimics wet soil, holding water and fertiliser until root exudates are present. Once the exudates break the bond, water and fertiliser are released through the tube's microporous surface until the plant is satiated and stops producing the exudate. So GrowStream delivers exactly what each plant needs, when they need it. This greatly reduces plant stress, significantly improving performance, yield, and dramatically reducing both water and fertiliser use. Now, she told me to be conservative and tell you that you'll get a 25% up kick in yield. She is routinely seeing around the world, she's in over 48 countries with this technology now, over 50% increase in yield. So you're radically reducing your water. I got to wrap it up? I didn't think I could speak for 7 minutes, but there you go. Radically reducing your water, energy and fertigation needs to get healthier plants, uplifting the soil condition, and to produce more. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next up, we got Dan French from Airborne Logic.
G'day everyone. Thanks for inviting me along. If you don't mind, I'm going to read off this today just to stay on time and on point. My name's Dan French and I'm from Airborne Logic. We're an SA-based drone and remote sensing company that's been taking great R&D to develop tools for farmers and land managers to help save time, reduce costs and improve accuracy when assessing crop status. Thanks, mate. And land condition for critical decision making. We've been doing it since 2018. Our products and services are market tested and validated. We do that. There we go. So we own and operate drones and specialised sensors that help rapidly and cost effectively survey farms, landscapes and vegetation in ultra high definition. We fly up to 80 to 100 hectares in an hour to produce survey-grade digital mapping products that are positionally accurate to 2 to 4 centimetres lat and long and 2 to 5 centimetres elevation. We use that information to map trees, plants at very small sizes, large sizes and landform, such as contours, so you can accurately plan, segment and measure area under production, including all your block boundaries and row lengths. You can separate trees from interrows, gaps in their surrounds, so you can do accurate stock takes at any point of time, including taking out missing plants. And so that all your blocks and varietals and every important feature in an orchard is marked, colour-coded and labelled. So you or anyone else can use these tools like Google Maps to quickly and accurately get where you need to get to reliably in any time. Because we map orchards at tree level, we can locate and help you measure variability in growth and tree health that's backed by numbers.
in a fraction of the time with better accuracy than most methods on the ground. Your survey results in our grower portal are completely filterable, so you can compare tree measurements and condition within and between rows and blocks and properties accurately. This allows you to target management actions such as scouting, pruning, nutrition and sprays, irrigation and infilling exactly where it's needed easily after every survey. Because variability can be isolated and mapped using our filter tools, you can do exact counts on missing and underperforming trees. You can better plan and prescribe treatments prior to deployment, and you can improve things like yield estimation by ensuring sampling is representative in areas of low, medium and high vigour. So drones with thermal sensors are an ideal tool to perform irrigation system checks to detect leaks, and flyovers during heat events can be used to detect stress plants, alerting you to issues in that location. Thermal surveys are quick and easy to process, and locating likely problems in the office is allowing people we work with currently to arrive on site prepared, saving them time and improving leak detection accuracy. Thank you. Each time series snapshot, each survey, allows you the ability to compare what's changed, so you can target scouting to confirm different quality zones for things like split picking, assess damage post-events such as extreme frosts, confirm the impact of management strategies by coming back afterwards and measuring change, and to keep at hand accurate records that can be compared to climatic conditions and other variables, helping you better prepare for coming seasons. Thank you. So carbon is now a commodity as well, as you probably know, and with the LiDAR and the machine learning and AI tools that we have on board, we can now take positionally accurate three-dimensional tree scans, which we can use to segment a tree, to calculate tree volume, to estimate standing carbon stock across an orchard. These estimates, combined with accurate maps of tree and interrows, are now being used to register carbon farming projects that intend to generate credits and revenues and create carbon accounts for offsetting. So these methods that we use are rigorous and repeatable, and they allow for reporting to supply chains and for maintenance of market access and for brand building. Okay, this one, mate. It's not working for me for some reason. Oh, one back, beauty. So we help you do all this in one place, and it's in a GIS environment. We build our software on a GIS platform, which is a modern day business mapping system that's shareable, intuitive and accurate. In GIS you can store all relevant farm map layers, including irrigation networks, infrastructure, block boundaries, etc. Turn them on and off whenever you want, allowing for better markups, analysis and reporting for all levels of business, from daily operations to board reporting and finance. Okay. And so we offer many different things, but two offers we have include us delivering a service for you using our own drones and technology, or we can help you obtain your own. And the cost of drones these days is not prohibitive. They've come down, the equipment's excellent. We can help set you up with the right equipment, design all your flight plans, manage your data transfer, and just handle all the quality control aspects of reporting, which massively decreases the cost per survey and allows you to full autonomy over when you choose to fly. So if you're interested in any of that, we're really happy to talk about your needs, share information, organise a time for us to show you through our portal online, which will give you a really thorough understanding of what we're offering before you make any further decisions. We've got some cards up the back there, not much other paraphernalia at the moment, but we are a member here, or we do some demonstrations here in the centre here, and also at the demonstration centre down there in Loxton. And there's plenty of examples we could show you to get a better understanding of what we can offer and how we may be able to help. So thank you very much.
Thanks, Dan. Next up, we got Cedric. He's eager from Wisecon, Australia.
All right, good afternoon, everybody, and thank you for the opportunity, and thanks to those of you who've hung around. Wisecon is a new entrant into the Australian market, so this is a great opportunity for us to get our name out. We're only opened up here in Australia in November of last year, and I hope that after these 7 minutes we'll give you a bit of a taste of what we can do. So Wisecon was founded in Chile, of all places. Not many people realize that not everything related to irrigation comes out of Israel. So this actually comes out of Chile, and the business started way back in 16 years ago, 17, something like that, and they established themselves very rapidly in the Latin American market in Chile. They predominantly, they own that market to a certain degree, and they expand a little bit thereafter. In 2015, they opened up an office in California, where today, based in Fresno, they probably are one of the leading suppliers of irrigation, monitoring, control, and automation systems. In 2021, they started providing into the Australian market through a distributor that operates here locally, and obviously had connections with them in the States, and that distributor started selling product into the market from the States. And then in 2023, November last year, we opened up here, and in parallel to that, we opened up 2 offices in Europe as well. So we've got a fairly decent footprint close to, and I can't read the numbers there, nor can I see them up here, so I'm going to ad-lib this, and if they're a little bit out of sync, you'll excuse me. But close to about 200,000 hectares that are controlled through our system, large numbers, obviously, of valves, et cetera, that we basically control in the field. So we aren't a newcomer to the market. We're not a startup. We're simply new here in Australia and New Zealand. We operate, and I'll come back to that, through certified distributors, which is clearly one of the key points of difference that we maintain, because what we invest in them is what is the point of difference. We are a sustainable ag water management platform, whereby we utilize our hardware and software technology, and we maintain, obviously, what we call a bi-directional process, whereby not only are we communicating internally, we communicate externally. What I mean by that is that we are software and hardware agnostic. We utilize existing hardware and software that is out there that you are currently using as the grower, and we have APIs that are integrated with everybody. We believe in the fact that we're not one size fits all. We're not one solution to everybody. We're not telling anybody to throw out their existing system, and we are very modular. So I'll come back to that. So in a nutshell, that tells you exactly who we are. So we are an ag-focused irrigation, monitoring, and control system specialist company. We don't deal in the rest of the irrigation system. We are working off your hydraulic capabilities within whatever you have. We will design our solution that will answer your hydraulic capabilities. We are very, very narrow in our focus, but that is our advantage, and we believe that that is what gives us the expertise and the knowledge and the resource to be able to answer your needs. We are a very modular system. In other words, we have 3 portions. One is monitoring. In other words, we can pick up, because we are an open system, we are software agnostic, we can talk to any system that gives us an input or an output. We will take the data from those sensors that you already have, and we will show them to you on one platform. We integrate with third-party providers. We have a wonderful example of a third party who is a complementary party who provides data in parallel to us. Swan Systems, we have a bi-directional integration with Swan Systems, for example, plus another 10 others, whereby you want to watch your irrigation, you want to do all your planning, all your implementation, all your reports, everything on their dashboard as opposed to our dashboard, very easily done. So that modularity and variability allows you to be able to do that. So Josh, if you will flick through, if you're telling me we've got 1 minute. No, go back 1 second. So one more. So those are that's the electronics, that's the brain. We are a software and a hardware company. This is all proprietary hardware. Those are the units that are out in the field. One for control, one for monitoring, and one for automation. The flexibility is provided through those expansion cards, which give us the flexibility to be able to manipulate the number of inputs and outputs that we provide. We work off the basis of we are a mesh network, radio network, whereby the nodes talk to each other via a self-healing network, radio network. We only need one gateway to the cloud. We sync with the cloud. We are not dependent on the cloud. Each node contains all the information needed to operate the system. And as long as you have done your scheduling or you've made your changes for your schedule slightly in advance, it's stored in the node. No matter what happens in the cloud, connectivity, you've lost connectivity, it will still operate by virtue of the fact that it's operating off the radio. Keep going. Obviously, we have all the opportunity for you to do this all remotely. You can do it from a desktop, you can do it from an iPad, you can do it from your phone. Keep going, keep going. Obviously, we have all the normal bells and whistles of the system on, keep going, Josh, sorry, that are available on there. Keep going. I just want to get to the last one, whereby you have everything. Keep going, keep going, keep going. And I want to keep going. Sorry, keep going. Keep going. No, there. So, 1 second. The points of difference, because ultimately, by virtue of the fact that it is a fairly saturated market, we know we're up against stiff opposition and opposition that we truly respect. However, we have some very unique things. Number one, we are software and hardware agnostic. Number two, we are proprietary. In other words, the software was designed by us. Number three, we have amazing support. I've been in the ag business for many, many years. I've always been in the ag business, and the loss of hair is due to the fact that I've been in the ag business all this time. I don't know another company that provides the support we give. Our distributors, our people that are doing the work in the field that back you up are all certified and tested every single year. And ultimately, we support them and we support you. We don't go direct. We back our distributors to the hilt. Thank you very much. Give us a go. I have information at the back there. Thank you.
All right. We got Ray Harris now from ALTSA. Yeah, right here.
Hi there, I'm Ray Harris. I'm the General Manager with ALTA, which is Analytical Laboratories and Technical Services Australia. I'm very, very happy to be here because I nearly had to give the presentation from the toilets at the back there because someone decided to close the latch on the outside. And so to the person who did that, it's laboratory testing, not lavatory testing. Okay, it's an old one, but it's a true story. And that young fellow that let me out, thank you, you're a hero. My God. So I think I deserve an extra minute there, Josh, for that. Right, so, thank you. So, Analytical Laboratories, Technical Services Australia, we're located at Merbeen South, just out of Mildura. We have 3 laboratories there, an inorganic chemistry lab where we're doing all the soil and plant nutrition testing. We're also doing environmental testing, water testing, etc. That's particularly relevant for the farming. We also have an organic chemistry lab where we're doing pesticide testing, whether it be food, crops. We're also doing water, soil. You'd be amazed at what we're testing for pesticides. We also have a third lab, microbiology and molecular biology. There we're doing testing for microbes in food, soil, water. Soil is the most recent. I'll talk about that some more in a minute. And we're also getting into disease testing, pollen viability and germination, which I'll talk about briefly too. I was going to say we are a commercial facility, lab facility. We're not a multinational. We're regional people looking after regional customers, basically. There, what you see is, I'm not sure if you can see very clearly there, but that's an example of a soil testing package. That's our comprehensive testing package. So obviously red is deficient in that nutrient, amber is excessive, and that can be just as important because some nutrients in excess can actually limit the intake of other nutrients. The other thing, obviously green is within the ideal range, but I'd also point out the left-hand column is the total digestible nutrients. So that's the total level of nutrients. And if you compare the total level versus the available level, which is the middle column with the colour, you can see that there's a significant portion of those nutrients that in many cases aren't actually available to your trees. And that's particularly relevant. You would have heard discussion about soil microbiology, and I believe that's going to become a much bigger thing in the future. Farmers will become farmers of both your trees and your crops, but also your soil microbiology. It's coming. It's already well on the way. You need to be testing for it. You can see the cover crop discussions about microbes there as well. But I've recently appointed a soil professor. He's an expert in this area. So we are going big into soil microbiology testing. We're just rolling out some of the testing, living biomass, enzymatic activity. You heard mention of enzymes. Well, we can test for that activity in your soil. The types of microbes that are present, the categories, etc. And there's a long list that we'll be rolling out. So what I'd point out is this is the future. If we get our microbe populations, if we get the beneficial microbes populations up to the maximum level, then these are all the potential benefits that can flow. You've got fertiliser sitting there that the crop can't access in many cases. If you compare, in some cases, maybe 20% is actually available of what's in the soil. So it's bound up structurally, chemically inaccessible, but your microbes can tackle that. So ultimately, there can be benefits, the bigger crops, greater levels of biomass, which can also help with soil retention and carbon capture, potentially as well. So this is just a quick snapshot. There's a lot going on underneath the surface. You need to know what's going on. It is the future here now. Pollen viability and germination testing. We've talked about bees, we've talked about attractants, we've heard all sorts of things. But how many of you actually, well, for starters, how many know that your pollen looks like that? Someone said Doritos or something, but But in fact, you can see one there. These are all very healthy. This is pretty much 100% viable pollen. You can see one actually germinating in the centre there. So the importance of this is, all right, bees, we need bees to transport the pollen, but what if the pollen itself does not have a high viability? It means your bees have got to do a lot more work. So actually understanding what's going on with your viability. And on top of that, you also need to know, will my pollen germinate? It can be viable, but will it actually germinate? So we're now offering this testing. Another test which is fairly new, we've been approached by pistachios, macadamias, avocados to do this testing. It's non-structural carbohydrate testing. It's basically the simple sugars within trees or any crop and the starch reserves. The balance between these is being seen as increasingly important when it comes to crop, the crop yields, and I'll just jump quickly to the next one. So you can see there's a transition between the starch reserves and the simple sugars. And researchers in California have actually found that they can use this testing to more accurately predict when bloom will occur. There's also potential implications as far as using the seasonal dynamics information to improve orchard yields and health. So this is testing you'll hear more about. We are just rolling it out now. And this is a list of, there are many tests we do at our facility. This is just ones that I've randomly put up. But we also have a courier service that operates between particularly Riverland and Mildura, also goes to Adelaide, and we're looking at other services to extend that further. So I didn't need my extra minute for being locked in the toilet, but thank you everybody for your time and for those who stayed the entire...
That brings the second pitch session to a close and the open day to a close. So with that, I'd like to invite Tim Jackson up to make his closing remarks.
Thank you very much for those who've hung around for the whole day. I'm sure that everyone's learned a little bit today. There's a lot of take-homes. We've got a lot of challenges within the industry, but we've also got opportunities for innovation, and we really appreciate Josh has identified that there's a lot of people out there like the people who pitched this afternoon and this morning who are doing a lot of work that can assist you do things better. So hopefully you found that all very valuable, along with the trade exhibitors. Plenty to take home. As far as the ACE Orchard, we're really proud of what we've established here. Thank you to the staff, to Josh, to Deirdre, and the rest of the team who've done such a good job of putting together an open day to remember. And as we discussed and Peter touched on this morning, if you're a grower and you're a bit worried about high density plantings or doing something different, please check the website, make an appointment with one of the team here and come out and have a look and spend a bit more time drilling into something that you might want to apply on your own orchard. We thank you very much for attending. Safe trip home, and I reckon our next big event will be the conference at the Adelaide Convention Centre next October. There's some field days going on. Associate Professor Florent is on the road again tomorrow and Thursday. Did a good job today being Crook. So if you've got some more disease questions, I think he's in Balranald tomorrow, and then Griffith on Thursday. Keep an eye out for those notices. There's plenty of field days and websites. We think the best way of getting onto people is face-to-face, and we've made an obligation to try and get to as many farms as we can over the next 3 years to ensure that we're getting some feedback from the grassroots up. So once again, thank you very much for attending. Thank you to all the people who supported the day, and have a safe trip home. Thank you.